Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Saturday night on Untethered Live. That means it's Politi-tics night. Rock on with your bad self. Come on in, take your shoes off, put your politics hat on, and let's talk about nonsense. That's why we're here. Kevin Bernard says I just stopped by for my gold star, and you deserve it, Kevin. Here's your gold star. How are you, sir? Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Kevin says, hello, Amanda and Jake.
Hello, Kevin.
And Saturday night, Untethered Live equals Night of the Trolls, says Kevin. Unfortunately, that comes with the territory. If you're going to fish, you got to, get through the seaweed to get to the good fishing spot. And Kevin says, how you doing tonight, Jake? I am fantastic. God blesses me more than I deserve. I am grateful for every second and every person like you. Makes me feel like I'm doing a good job in the world. So thank you for being here. We had some personal conversation there at the beginning of the show. I'll skip that. If you want to read it, read it. If you don't. That was between me and Kevin. Kevin says, I have a theory about Democrats and why they like chaos and destruction. It's because if they make enough of it, people will allow them to take more power and control over us. And you are absolutely right. That is the game plan. Unfortunately, we live in a world that is driven by narratives. And it's been carefully crafted that way since the 1800s. They have been doing this for a long time. This is not new. And they are on the other side of what we would call peaceful reality. Their job is to sow discord and chaos and treachery and separation amongst the people, because when you divide people into little categories, they're easy to maneuver like cattle. You can make them do whatever you want them to do because a person is smart, but a crowd of people are dumb, panicky, and herd-like in their mentality. They know it and we know it, and that's the way people are. And so they can gain the power and use the power as they see fit if they keep us all against each other. So as long as we're fighting about race or politics or whatever little nonsense that separates us as people, we don't think about what joins us together as people, the things that we all have in common, the things that we all need, like camaraderie, friendship, loyalty, honor, dignity, those kind of things. We don't think about that because we're too busy fighting about what somebody's skin color is or whatever. So it would behoove us all to take a page from the Bible and just stop listening to the nonsense. We have the power. We decide what we want to do. So let us do that and join together and come together as a community that they can't touch because we're stronger in numbers. Very smart and astute observation there, Kevin. Kevin says it's already a fact that they are only self-serving. Yes, they're very selfish, very self-serving, very self-centered. Everything is about me, 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 me. That's why we have a cancel culture. That's why we have a victim mentality culture. It's all about me and how I feel. The problem is they don't make room for anybody else. That's why if you're going to be involved in politics, you should take the high road whenever necessary. And I said it's a good theory. I believe it'll bear out in time, showing the self-serving and selfish behavior they exhibit to be their driving motivation for everything. And Kevin says they act like they care, but everything they do is destructive to the poor and the working class. Well, it's because the poor and the working class have the smallest voice, but produce the most stuff. They're the ones that make the country run. They're the ones building things and working and keeping things going, and the most silent. It's odd that the people that are the loudest contribute the least to society. Isn't that weird? And Kevin says, Jake, you work damn hard at what you do. Thank you, sir. Then you have to put up with ignorant people while doing it. Just to let you know, that makes me appreciate you even more. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Trolls will be trolls. That is correct. And I'm working really hard to put something together here that we can all be proud of. And I guess that would be worth defending. And I continued saying, thank you, my friend. That means a whole lot to me. It comes with the territory, and I'm just glad that there are people like you that can see what I'm doing or what I'm trying to do and appreciate it. That means a lot. And Kevin says, my internet just took a dump. I hope it wipes. That would be bad to have a stain everywhere it sits down afterwards. I hope it stays back up. Me too. Amanda says,
well, clean it up and redress it and get it ready to go. LOL. Hi, Kevin.
yeah, it's showtime. You got to get your shirt on and your hair brushed and your mustache combed out and your coffee ready. And you got to sit here and get the lights just right and be ready to do a show, man. It's time.
Those are some nice compliments, Kevin. Thank you. We love you, man.
Amy Elizabeth says, hey, Kevin, good to see you. And hi, Jake and Amanda. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Amy.
Did you get you some rest last night? I know you were awful tired, and we didn't help none by going till 1 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully it won't be that bad tonight. We'll see. Aaron, what's up, buddy? I did not ignore your text. I just got it like 5 minutes ago. I realized while I was sitting here getting ready that my phone hadn't made a noise all day, and I looked at it, and it was disconnected from the internet, so I didn't get your message. But I'm doing good, and you're doing good. It's all good. Amy says, like, share, and invited some friends. And hi, Aaron. And I'm tired. I've been trying to stay awake. It's a busy day, and now my belly is full. I'm so sleepy. That's going to make you go to sleep. You know that, right? Have some coffee, sit up on the edge of your seat, and lean into the conversation. That's the only thing that'll keep you awake. Debbie, how are you, sweetheart? She says, hello, everyone.
Hi, Debbie.
Don't you want to have a cup of coffee with me? If so, go to the kitchen, pour yourself a nice hot cup of coffee, and let's get to talking about some politics or whatever comes up, whatever happens. If you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has this face on it. It is fantastic. But also, we have stainless steel tumblers down there. Big ones and little ones. They got locking lids and Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front. They're stainless steel in construction. They look great on a coffee table. They hold your coffee hot for hours. So get one while they last. Or a hat. Or a t-shirt. Or a bathroom mat. Whatever you want. It's there. One more thing. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little love. If you want to throw a little change in my pocket, if you want to. BJ. You can do that right there. Or hit that Cash App, $ Jake Johnson Band. I greatly appreciate your effort and your help and your support. It goes a long way to keeping us here, and I appreciate the effort. And if you would like to hang out with us outside of this place, you know, share memes on a different platform, get to know each other personally, interpersonally, bi-personally, octo-personally, however you want to do it, you can do it over at facebook.com/UntetheredLive The link is in the chat. It's a great place to hang out. The ladies are killing it over there with memes and jokes. Go check it out. It's fun and free. Amy says, hey, Debbie. And Amy says, coffee spelled backwards is effuck. It's fitting because before I have coffee, I don't give a effuck. And then I said, I don't give a fuck. I knerd. Amy says, brewing a cup of coffee. Be right back. Smart move, Amy. Patty's here. She says, hello, everybody. Hi, Patty. I said, I don't give a fuck. I knerd. Coffee. I knerd it. I'm going to knerd something right now. I love knerding effic. Amy says, hi, Patty. And smiley face. And Debbie says, I give a fuck if the money is good enough. Right? Dirty girl. Amy says, LOL, Debbie. And Debbie says, I can't be bought, but I can be rented. Right? Me too. I am definitely on the market. Which market? That's different. Patty says, Miss Amy Elizabeth, tip of the hat. Amanda says,
LOL, Debbie, if the price is right. And hi, Patty.
Linda Davis is here. She says, hi, Amanda, Amy, Debbie, Patty, Kevin, Aaron, and Jake. Hart, hi. How are you? Nice to see you. How are things? Patty says, Miss Amanda, smiley face. Hang on, my chat jumped.
Hi, Linda Hun.
Kevin says, hello, Jake. Nice to see you, brother. Kevin says, hello, Amanda. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Thank you.
My chat jumped, sorry.
Amy says, hi, Linda. And Patty says, Miss Linda, smiley face. Amy says, how are you doing, Patty? And Fab Daddy's here. What's up, Fab? Nice to see you, brother. Amanda says, hi, Fab.
Hi, Fab.
Thank you. Amy says, hey, Fab Daddy. And Amy says, everything is bullshit. Yes, it is. Eon says, free Palestine. Well, if Palestine was an actual place, we could talk about it, but it's not, so why are you discussing something that doesn't exist? Or that you've ever seen, or been part of, or know anybody that has? Are you just pushing a narrative forward like most of the Democrats do and have no honest idea what they're talking about in the first place? You just following along like a little sheep? Sounds like it to me. Fab Daddy says, LOL, how much is your hamburger? Hamburger is the new eggs. I had Burger King last week. I had 2 hamburgers and two orders of fries and 2 Cokes. You know, a $10 meal. It was over $20. 2 hamburgers. Amy says, Eon, try starting with a hello. That's usually what happens when you walk into a room full of strangers. Hello works better. Fab Daddy says, free America. Amen, Fab Daddy. Did you guys see Trump meet Putin this weekend in Alaska? Let me tell you how this went, by the way. Alaska is a very small portion of land. It's not a very big state. It looks big on the map because that's the way they draw it, but it's not very big. And it is surrounded by property that is owned by Russia. It's a very small American excerpt into a very large area owned by Russia. And so Trump went up there to meet Putin basically in his backyard, basically. So he didn't have to go very far. Well, while we're there, Donald Trump gives Putin the old man handshake, you know, the pull you in and hold you there until you feel uncomfortable. Man handshake. And while he's doing that, a B-2 bomber, stealth bomber, and 4 F-45 jets fly overhead just to let you know we can get you anytime we want to, even in your own backyard. That is a man move. Anything going forward from that, you could be assured that our leader is in charge. He knows it, Putin knows it, and everybody there knows it. Go America. Made me proud. I got a little tear in my eye when I saw it.
The poor look on Putin's face was priceless.
Yes, and Putin, by the way, is 2 heads shorter than Donald Trump, so it was apropos. Amy says, oh my God, I actually agree with Fab Daddy. Free America. Right on. Fab Daddy, you're coming around, buddy. Kevin says, I hope some more people join us. Me too, Kevin. Me too. They're coming. It's a slow roll. You know, I don't advertise or anything like that. It's all word of mouth. It's all in God's hands. He'll bring the people that need to be here, and I'll handle whatever comes my way, whether it be 10 people or 10 million people. Doesn't matter to me either way. I am the middleman, and I'm okay with that. But thank you for hoping. Invite some friends. Amanda says,
Hello, Aaron. You snuck in on me.
ah, sneaky, sneaky. Amy says, I sent the video link out. All I can do to get folks in here, I shared to other platforms. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, Amy. Thank you very much. That's all you can do. That's all I ask of you to do. Kevin says, I had to refresh. It wasn't showing other people in chat. And that seems to be happening lately. I don't know why. They really need to get some technicians on this chat thing and get it fixed. Aaron says, I'm stealth tonight. And I hear you, brother. I'm glad you're here. How you doing? And I apologize for not responding to your text. I didn't get it till just a few minutes ago. For whatever reason, my phone was not attached to the internet today. And I thought it was awful quiet, but that was weird.
He wouldn't know. He slept all day.
I got to rest sometime. Amanda says,
LOL, I see Aaron. Aaron said he's in stealth mode tonight.
well, if he's in stealth mode, how can you see him?
I see that he's in stealth mode because he snuck in on me.
Either you have incredibly good vision or he has incredibly bad stealth technology.
He smiled.
Dirty. Linda says, my 13-year-old son and his friends made dinner tonight for our family. Aw. Isn't it nice when somebody cooks dinner for you? That's lovely. Was it good? Kevin says, hello, everyone. My chat just started working right. Oh, good. I'm glad. Amanda says,
That's awesome, Linda. What'd they make?
Fab Daddy says, I'm in danger of being deported. I walk around without papers. You're not in danger of being deported. You're an American citizen. You don't need papers. Amy says, it was good. Was it good, Linda? And what did they make? And Debbie says, what's your address, Fab? I'll call ICE for you. Damn. Kevin says, hello, Amy, Linda, and Fab Daddy. And hello, Aaron, and hello, Debbie. Amanda says, here's the Facebook page if anybody wants to check it out. Outlaw says, Trump is a loser. Is he now? Well, much like the trolls that I've dealt with this week that claim things in that arena, did you notice how he had the B-2 bomber over Putin's head this afternoon this weekend when he met with him in Alaska? That's not loser territory, buddy. That's winner territory. You might be on the wrong side of knowing things. Linda says, your chat's going to jump and leave you lost. Linda says they grilled hot dogs and hamburgers and made baked beans and salad and French fries and watermelon chips. Watermelon and chips. Nice. They did good, too. That sounds good. Sounds like a good round meal. Good going, boys. Fab Daddy says, Debbie, stop calling police for your feelings. That's Karen move. Sorry to all Karens, but your name has a meaning. It does. Amy says, hi, Outlaw. Welcome.
What's the male version of a Karen?
I don't know. Probably that dude with the man bun and the beard that never seen a day of work in his life. Probably that guy. John H. is here. He says, good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. A recipe for Arctic roll, homemade sponge flat. Wait till cook, then you choose your filling, and then a tub of ice cream, and then roll it like a Swiss roll, and then place it in a freezer. Home make sponge flat. I don't know what a sponge flat is. Wait till it's cool. Then you choose your filling, and then a tub of ice cream, and then roll it like a Swiss roll, and then put it in the freezer. Okay. I think some of that is recognizable. I don't know what a sponge flat is, but I'm guessing that's like a pound cake, maybe, or like those little things that you get for a strawberry shortcake, whatever that stuff is. That's kind of spongy. Interesting. Aaron says, ice cleaned out half my work. 90% of housekeeping is deported. Wow. A lot of illegals in Florida. They kind of come in from that area. Gluchin's navel says, good evening to you. Good evening to you, Ortho. Welcome to the show. Kevin says, hello, John, and hello, Ortho. And Amy says, Outlaw, try starting with hello. It works better in a crowd. Yeah, I don't know why people do that. They just pop in and say whatever political nonsense they think. Try introducing yourself. What the hell's the matter with you young people? Aaron says, they had visas or fake papers. Okay. And Debbie says, oh, please, Fab. Like you're an illegal. You were virtue signaling, and we all know it. Amy says, hi, Nugget. And Amanda says,
Hi, Nugget.
Amy says, hi, Ortho, welcome. And Linda Davis says, hi, John, heart. Fab Daddy says, everybody get ready. Politics only matters when it hits your bank account. That's not true. Politics matters all the time. The whole world is ran on politics. What are you talking about? It only makes you complain when it hits your bank account. It hasn't hit my bank account. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a Democrat thing.
It's a Democrat thing. Gotcha.
Hi, Ortho. Welcome.
Welcome, Ortho. That is a tongue twister. Debbie says, perhaps for the Democrats, Fab, but not everyone. Yeah, people that actually do their jobs and, work hard for a living, they don't have any problem with their bank account. Amy says, I'm poor and work 2 jobs. Regardless of who's in the White House, both sides are corrupt. This is true. And Fab Daddy says, the PPI, the Producer Price Index, from July is not good. It jumped 0.9%. Not since 2020 during Corvette. You mean COVID? Well, I've never heard of the PPI or the Producer Price Index. So it can't be that important. Bad Chick Crazy says, what's up? I'm lurking. Hey, Bat. Nice to see you. Amy says, hi, Bat. Amanda says,
Hi, Bat.
Kevin says, hello, Bat. And Amy says, at least this president is cognitive. At least he knows how to make an entrance.
Damn sure knows how to get the attention.
Yeah, I was so proud when I saw him pull Putin over and give him that man handshake, and then that B-50, the B-2 stealth bomber and the F-45s flew overhead in formation in Alaska. I had a thought this morning. I wonder if they had to go into Russian territory to turn that thing around. Because, planes take a while to turn around. I don't know how much area they had there that's American soil or American air. It's kind of interesting. Baller move if they did. Basically daring Putin to do something about it. Fab Daddy says Hurricane Aaron jumped from a Category 1 storm to a Category 5 in 24 hours. That's what that's what hurricanes do, Fab Daddy. And it's about hurricane season. October is the beginning of hurricane season. Or traditionally it has been anyway.
Especially them ones that come up the east coast of Florida. Them things known to get big.
It's only a couple months away before we'll be getting pummeled again. I don't know if you recognize this, but we get those like every year. Around the same time.
Dozens of them.
Aaron says, Jake, we all good? Yes, sir. We all good. Amy says, hurricanes of biblical proportions. Maybe. Amanda says,
LOL, you smiled, Aaron. Love you, man.
Aaron says, Ian did the same thing, Fab. Hurricane Ian, right. Amy says, I made beef short ribs with fresh peppers and tomatoes in the crock pot. It was delicious. Great. I had an egg sandwich. John says, J.D. Vance is in Britain on vacation, and Keir Starmer has snubbed him. They won't meet him. What a stupid move. I agree. That is kind of dumb. It's going to be rough when they need something. And then we remember how they snubbed us. Because believe me, they will eventually need something. Batshit Crazy says, dog 1 to dog 5. How fast? I don't know. What are you saying? Void Adventures, welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
Cat 1 to cat 5.
Oh,
how
cat
fast?
5. How fast? Oh, I don't know how fast. Can't be that difficult. All it is spinning up. I mean, if you're over water, a hurricane really has nothing to stop it from gaining power, and it has all the resources and fuel to gain power. So really, the only thing that'll stop a hurricane is it hitting land and slowing down over land. Once it gets into trees and all that, it'll peter out. Sometimes it takes a while for it to do it, and it causes a lot of havoc when it does. But while it's in water, there really ain't nothing to stop it from going as big as a hurricane can go. Aaron says, LOL, a black guy in the dark smiling, and then you see him, Amanda. Ha ha ha. That's what I thought of.
And back to Bat's comment, I think he might have been talking about the speed of the hurricane. That's like, I think a cat 5 is 160 mile an hour or better. Yeah, cat 5 is 160 and above, I believe.
There you go. Fab Daddy says, I prepared for this show and I watched the news today. You know, MSDNC, CNN, ABC, Telemundo, Al Jazeera, and PBS, and Fox. That sounds like you had a busy afternoon. I didn't do any of that. Void Adventure says, hello, it's me, Void. I've officially enlisted into the Navy. You go, man. I ship out to Illinois on the 22nd of September for boot camp. Well, congratulations, Void. I know you'll have a good time doing it, and you'll learn a lot in your endeavors. And we wish you the best of luck and Godspeed all the way.
Hi, Void. Congratulations.
And Kevin says, hello, Void. And Void says, hi. Amy says, a Darren is the male version of a Karen. There you go. A Darren. Makes sense.
Aaron, that's what I meant. You were in stealth mode until you smiled.
Amy says, hi, Void. And Void says, hi, Amy. Fab Daddy says, Karen, because she cares too much. Darren, because he dared too much. Interesting. Batshit says, Void, be sure you can swim 200 meters. Kevin says, Trump trolled Putin by showing him billions of dollars worth of aircraft that are right on Russia's front door. Yes, meaning we can get you anytime we want to. This is just a friendly warning. And Void Adventure says, I can't swim 1 foot, LOL. But my recruiter said that the Navy should teach me. Oh, they'll teach you all right, or drag you through it, one or the other.
You'll drown.
And John says, sponge cake, and then make it flat. Got it. So you just make a regular sponge cake and then flatten it out. Yeah, or you could do it with just regular flour. Knead the flour, put some water in it, and get it nice and doughy, and then roll it out with a rolling pin. You could do it that way, too. But I guess the sponge cake has everything already made in it. Interesting. So sponge cake and ice cream, and then roll it up and stick it in the freezer. Nice. And whatever toppings you want. Batshit says hi. What's up, buddy? And Debbie says, Amanda, the men are Karens too, with their man buns and effeminate ways. Yes, there are some effeminate men out there, and it makes me sad for the entire gender. I don't know what happened to stoicism and strength and chivalry. But apparently this generation doesn't know nothing about any of that. And Batshit says, Void, you get written guaranteed job on winging it.
Did you get a guaranteed job, or are you winging it?
Oh, I got it. It's a question. Yeah, did you get a guaranteed job? Did they guarantee you work after the Navy, or are you just winging it? And Amy says, Void, have a friend take you to the middle of the lake in a boat and jump in the water. Best way to learn how to swim. True. That's how we all learned how to swim. We just got tossed in the water. Jonas C. Pilkatuck says, what happened to the inquiry of July 2024 failed assassination attempt of Donald J. Trump? Thomas Matthew Crooks. I don't know. There's not a whole lot to learn about the guy. The FBI scrubbed the scene pretty clean before anybody could get there to do any actual journalism. So he's basically the same as the shooter in Vegas, a big mystery that nobody really knows motivations for. It was a good question, but I don't know that I have an answer for you. Amy says, hi, Jonas E. Welcome. Batshit says, actually, RoboPen, how about that? Right? The old RoboPen. Robotic pen. FJB 46. Yeah. The old RoboPen. When in doubt, get somebody to sign it for you. And Fab Daddy says PPI will determine the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index. That's what will hurt your bank account. I don't have a bank account. It's probably a smart move. Then you don't have a bank account to hurt. So what's the worry? And Void says hi. And Fab Daddy says it's going to hurt the mattress, not my bank account. Well, it's good to know where you keep your money, so when I rob you, I don't have to look very hard.
Right.
Void Adventure says Trump whispered something in Putin's ear, and Putin's face turned white farther because Putin said there'd never be American fighters in Russia, and Trump called his bluff in front of him and told him. Yeah, that was kind of my point, too. It was a total baller move. He totally alphaed him right there in front of God and everybody. And now we've got Hillary Clinton and one of those guys, I can't remember the name, one of those CIA guys, like Jake Tapper, but not him, some other guy, recommending that Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize finally. Imagine that. Hillary Clinton. Can you say suck up? I think it's too late.
She probably needs to take advice from Monica.
My guess is, and she really don't want to go to prison, so now she's sucking up to Donald Trump with offering a Nobel Peace Prize to him, hoping that he'll be nice to her. She's not going to go to prison. They're never going to do that. She's too high caliber. They hang the whole Democrat thing on her and Obama. They're never going to go to jail. It'll be the lower down guys that go to jail, the insignificant ones.
But if she does, it'll put a monkey wrench in the Dems' ass for sure and make them think twice.
Fab Daddy says if you buy wholesale, you're already paying more for your goods. Well, I buy as little as possible. I live on a very tight budget. I don't make a whole lot of money. And I run a show, and I run my household on what I make. So I live penny to pennies, or whatever I get, I spend almost immediately. So all of my money is in flux. I don't get to save any of it. So I do have a change jar, though, but I don't think that's going to be hurt by whatever's going on in the economy. Amy says, learn to shop on a budget and find things on clearance or on sale. Amen. Always stretch your dollar. Amanda says,
I bargain shop too.
Amy says, frugal spending. Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but believe me, it's getting better. All of the right things are happening. Things are being put into place that will make the country better down the road. You might not even see the effects of it until the next president comes in, and hopefully if they play their cards right, it'll be a MAGA president continuing the success forward, but we'll see.
JD.
Might be JD. I think that's kind of the idea. He has been totally being groomed to be president. You've seen that since they picked him.
And he won't come right out and say if he's going to run or not. He just says it's a little too early to think about that. Yeah, come on, JD.
Yeah, they all do that.
He thinks about that every night.
That voice says Trump told Putin to do something about it, right? Amy says, part of being a responsible adult is adapting to situations and making adjustments. Amen to that. And Void says about being in the Navy, I'm just winging it as a packed seaman. John says J.D. Vance got one back on them. He won't meet Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, and he met a reality star from Britain instead. Go J.D. Vance. He knows what's important. When in doubt, always appeal to pop culture, because pop culture is where the people are. It doesn't matter what the politicians are doing. If you've got the people, you've got the politicians. Believe that. Amy says wholesale isn't really practical for buying small amounts, right? Fab Daddy says, if you think I put all my eggs in one mattress, you're wrong. As a welder, encased all my wealth with steel, and you will never find it. Well, all I have to do is look for what you have that looks like steel. Amy says, please support the show via Cash App or PayPal. A Cash App is $ Jake Johnson Band. Is PayPal.me/Jake Johnson Band. Thank you. John says, Hillary probably on the list as well, same as Bill. I agree. I agree 100%, if there is a list. I think they've had control of that whole investigation since the beginning of it. In fact, all of the material evidence was kept in a Democrat stronghold in New York, at the FBI office in New York, the whole time. If there was any evidence that endangered any Democrat, to be sure they burned it a long time ago. I don't think it exists. And on that note, the details of this investigation are such that if it were to come out, it would bring the entire house of cards crashing down. So you are never, and listen to me when I say this, you are never going to hear the truth about that guy. Now, all you got to do is go back and look at Pinocchio from the 40s, the Disney movie from the 40s, and know that they're talking about a pleasure island where little boys go and don't ever come back as little boys. To know that this evil has been here for a very long time. Jeffrey Epstein is a character. He's just a character. He's a front man. He is the guy in charge right now so that everybody can see a person. But the evil that he does has been here throughout time and will continue to be here into the future. They'll just get another guy, another character, and put him in place. And then that guy will fall. Like Savile over there in England. What's his name? You know the guy. Is it Henry Savile? No, it ain't Henry Savile. What was his name? Jimmy Savile. That's it, Jimmy Savile. He's just a character. He's just a face that people can latch on to and, pitchforks and fire and torches. But the evil will remain. You will never hear the truth of it. So you might as well quit worrying about it. It's a thing that happens. It's how the world works. You will never get into the reality of it unless you're part of it. That's just the truth. I hope that helps. We live in a fallen world that is run by the devil. And everything that you would expect to be in place, if that were true, is in place because it is. Kevin says, needs a fresh cup of coffee. Yes, I do. Mine's empty. Amy says, super chats and super stickers are available. Thank you, Amy. Yes, please do. Support the show if you can. A1 Steak says, look at the latest PPI inflation data. The tariffs costs are going to be passed on to the consumer soon. Not yet. The tariffs are already in place. How come the consumer isn't already paying for it? Is that a fear tactic? It seems like it is. It seems like the tariffs are actually working, which is why all of the Democrats are turning in kind and kissing the ring, as it were, including the likes of Bill Maher and Hillary Clinton. And those people are actually supporting Trump because his tariffs are working. See how that works? Inflation is coming back. Yeah, but it's not here right now. So what are you saying? We should worry about something that is fictitious and hasn't happened yet? Or we should enjoy time while we have it with what's going on currently? And welcome, A1. Hang on, my chat jumped. Amanda says, hi, A1. And Amy says, hi, A1 steak sauce. Welcome. Amy says, who puts eggs on a mattress? Ew. Fertilizing eggs and making babies. Well, if that's the case, I put eggs on mattresses all the time. And ooh is right. And Amy says, begatting and begatting. A1 says, why won't Trump release the list? Because there is no list to release. And if he did release the list, everyone would be on the chopping block. And I assure you, Trump is not the guy running the show. He's just a front man for the show. There are people higher in power than him, and he has to answer to those people. Believe that. Trump is the fly in the ointment to the narrative that has been put in place. The globalist agenda is crumbling because of Trump. But even still, Trump has to play the game that he's a part of. And the game has been established for many, many years. Being president does not mean you are the be-all, end-all of authority. It just means you're the front man and will take the fall if things go wrong. That's it. Why won't he release the list? Because there's no list to release. You're asking for something that doesn't exist, and you're focusing on the wrong thing. The list is the deception. Do you understand that? You have been deceived. The evil is way bigger than the list. The list doesn't even matter. Who's involved? Everybody's involved. It doesn't matter. What matters is that kind of thing actually still happens in the world. You hadn't even thought about that, have you? You hadn't even thought about the fact that evil is running the world, and you have glimpsed a very small piece of it, the child trafficking portion of it. Imagine what you don't know about, and it's happening. Believe that. Debbie says the PPI is the cost to produce. CPI is what consumers pay. A company's profit margin has always affected price since the dawn of time. Why is this news now, Fab? Good question. Fab Daddy says, I'm waiting to see the Clintons get asked about Epstein. Oh, they have been. They have been.
Yes, they've all been subpoenaed, and they're expected to testify this week.
And by the way, if you go back in time and just look at interviews that have happened over the years, this question has come up before in many different varieties. And it's always been some form of sly remark or obfuscation. Always. They're well aware of the evil that they're part of. They're not in the dark. A1 says PPI inflation has always been passed on to CPI inflation. Yep, so what's the problem? Sounds like business as usual. Amanda says
it's all bullshit, A1. The travel list is all there, is all that is there, and is all there is left. The one that he's already put out is all that's left.
That's it. Amy says a bucket list, a shopping list, Christmas card list, attendance list. Yeah, all of those. Fab Daddy says subpoena congressional. A1 Steak says the Republicans in Congress all voted against releasing the list. Yes, I know. And the Democrats are in agreement. They all agree. They all want to talk about it, but they don't want to actually release it. Why is that? Because there is no list. That is the deception. Amy says billionaires borrow each other's jets all the time. This is true. Matter of fact, there's a limited number of jets, and all of the rich people just kind of use them as they need them. If there's a jet here, they'll charter it and go over there, and then whoever's there will charter it and go over there. That's just how jets work. Especially if you're not the uber rich people. If you're coming up, if you're just like a millionaire, you ride with other people. That's just the way it works. It was Uber before Uber was Uber. And Debbie says, AI, that is misinformation. Judges will not allow the release. Yes. A1 says CPI data is always lagging PPI. Sounds like you know what you're talking about. Actually, it sounds like something you heard on the news, but whatever. Fab Daddy says, not yet. Not yet what? Amy says, don't like tariffs? Buy American. There you go. Buy American. That'll make your tariff problem go away. Bukadita Sarah says, free Palestine. Well, if Palestine was a real place, we could talk about that. But since you can't point to it on a map and it doesn't exist, why are you worried about it? And by the way, when you walk into a room full of strangers, try hello. It works better most of the time. Fab Daddy says, Jake, who pays the tariff? Whoever the tariff is placed upon. If it's a tariff on goods for China, then China pays the tariffs. You understand? That's how tariffs work. A tariff is basically a tax on goods. In other words, if I want to buy Datsuns from Japan, I'll pay for the Datsun plus a tariff or a whatever percentage tax on the good, which means when it gets to America, we have to charge more for it to cover that cost. That's why things are as expensive as they are. But they have to buy things from us too. So if we put tariffs, which we never did before, in modern times anyway, we would just give them the goods for cost, right? So we're not getting anything out of them using our stuff, but we have to pay to use their stuff. That ain't fair. If you go back and look at the Founding Fathers documents, you'll find out the country was designed to be ran 100% on tariffs. Taxes weren't a thing. So if the country is working like it's supposed to, tariffs will fund the government. We don't need to tax the people. That's what's being bantied around right now. That's the idea. Void says, my Frosty and fries, an entire Baconator would have cost $44 in 2023. That cost now in 2025 went down to $11.53. How about that? Amy says, Bukadita, welcome. Try hello. It works better. Debbie says, amen, Amy. A difficult concept for some. Bukadita, don't repeat yourself. We heard you the first time. And like I said the first time, Palestine is not a real place. There's no such thing as a Palestine. Fab Daddy says, say we put 50% tariffs on Brazil, who pays the tariff? Brazil pays the tariff, and then the consumer covers the excess cost. Because that's how buying and selling works. No, Trump is not deep state A1. Trump is Trump. And the very fact that he's Trump is the reason everybody on earth went after him when he became president. Because he doesn't fit into the group. He's not part of the program. He's liable to do things that are counterintuitive to the program. And they don't like that. Debbie says Palestine needs to vote out Hamas. Well, one of those two things are a real thing, so. Bukadita, we are Americans. We're part of history. So you should probably shut your mouth. Read the room. You're in the wrong place. Amy says, Dems, OMG, tariffs. Other countries have reciprocal tariffs as well. Even country has tariffs, but OMG. Yeah, tariffs have always been part of the deal. It's just how shopping works. Anytime you're buying goods from another country, there are costs involved. Those costs include taxes and tariffs. The only thing is now we're doing it, and it stands to make us a lot of money, and the Democrats don't like that because if we have a lot of money, we don't need them to run the show. See how that works? Debbie says, Fab, tariffs work, and now they are reciprocal. That makes it even better. Dodie Estes, welcome back. Hey, y'all, says Dodie. Wave your hand, America, and prayers. Hey, Dodie, nice to see you. Nope, that's not correct, Fab Daddy. That's not how tariffs work. The importer does not pay the tariff. The country pays the tariff. That's what the tariff is. If they have a tariff on us, when we import, we pay their tariff. But if we put a tariff on them, when we export, they pay the tariff. You see how that works? Amanda says, hi, Dodie. And Amy says, hi, Dodie, heart. And Dodie says, hi, Amanda. Lady Biker's here. Hello, darling. She says, respect and love, Jake and Amanda. Smiley face and hearts and kissy faces and a smiley face in disguise. Nice. Amy says, Bukadita, please don't spam the chat. Thanks. Yeah, there's no need to repeat yourself. We all know how to read. Probably because we grew up in a country that offers school. You know what I'm saying? We also have manners. You should learn some. Amy says, hi, Lady B. And Amanda says, hi, Lady. And Debbie says, Fab. And now China will pay the same that makes it fair. It makes it fair trade. Yes. See, before, we were sending our goods to China for free. And we had to pay high tariffs to receive Chinese products. Now it's fair. Now they pay for our stuff and we pay for their stuff and money goes around in both directions. I know this is a complicated thing to think about, but believe me, it works for the better. John H. says, the public pay the tariffs through your taxes. Sorry, my chat jumped again. Dodie Estes says, hi, sweet Amy, wavy hand. And Lady Biker says, hey, Amanda, sweetheart, wavy hand and hearts. Lady B says, Amy, love you, darling. Heart, 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 heart. Amy B says, my bad. My bags are packed and I'm ready to go. I'm leaving on a jet plane, don't you know? When I'll be back again. I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Leaving on a jet plane. Fab Daddy says, tariffs is Taco Boy's way of manipulating world economics. So his cryptocurrency will garner more. That's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with the other thing. Those two things are not even related. And Taco Boy didn't stick. Give it up already. Silly. Garner more wealth. No, it won't. Cryptocurrency is not a thing yet. It will be eventually because the world monetary system will fall. That's in the Bible. That's been known for 2,000 years or better. At some point, the monetary system will collapse and there will only be digital currency. It's going to happen. You might as well get used to that idea. And it's not Trump that's going to make it happen. If so, the Bible wouldn't have known about it 2,000 years ago. Imagine that. It's almost like there's a plan in place. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Amy says, the second you start using ad hominem insults to explain your position, you lose the debate. You sling insults to the president, your argument is moot. Agreed. Because he's both of our president. And Amanda says, LOL, Fab Daddy, is Taco Boy the best you got? Because tacos are delicious. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. I like it. That's a good name, been there, done that. Only someone using a Datsun as a reference. What a retard. Well, I would like you to, challenge my intellect any day of the week. I'll take you and have my brain tied behind my back and one eye closed. And been there, done that. I'll show you what clever really is. I don't think you're ready for actual wit. Lady B says, hi, Debbie and John. Amy says, juvenile and unproductive. Absolutely. And that's, par for the course. A lot of juvenile, unproductive people in the world. Fat Daddy says, now China doesn't pay the customs border entry. The person that wants what comes off the boat must pay the tariffs. If it doesn't get paid, yes. Why do you want some cheap, inferior Chinese crap in the first place? Buy American. It's better for you. John H. says, hi, lady, heart. And Amanda says, childish, been there, done that. And Amanda says, prove it, been there, done that. A1 says, but who does have to listen to? But who have to listen to? What are you talking about, A1? Amy says, please subscribe to the channel. Yes, if you're going to be bombing me and talking all kinds of nonsense, at least hit the subscribe button. Let us get something out of it, too. Amy says, why are you yelling, been there, done that? Because he has no actual knowledge. He's just repeating talking points. It means nothing. That is what irrelevant looks like. Walter Davis, good evening. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you. Come on in. The weather's fine. Amy says, hi, Walter. Avoid Adventure says, I believe that's yet another Democrat problem because tariffs are paid by the country it's being put on, and we were taxed, and now we are taxing. It's a simple concept. It is. It's a simple concept, and they're trying to make a bigger deal out of it than it actually is. It's actually good business to do tariffs. As a matter of fact, it's actually a very intelligent thing that Trump did, because money is pouring in as a result of it, and the Democrats can only whine about a little hike in prices on the consumer side of things, which has to happen because of what Biden did in his administration with inflation. We have to do that to get over it. Once we get over it, then prices will plummet again. Anybody that can think for longer than a 4-year period can remember how this works. That's the problem. There's so many immediate thinkers, TikTok brain. They can only think in 10-second clips. They can't remember the past 4 years, let alone the past 8. And Amanda says, been there, done that. Trump said he was on the flight logs, but he never went to the island. And Trump is the one who turned Epstein in for what he was doing, by the way. You probably didn't know that, though. The reason Jeffrey Epstein is on the list and you know about him is because Donald Trump turned him in for what he was doing at Mar-a-Lago. That's why he got arrested in the first place. Otherwise, he'd still be doing it and getting away with it. So the reason you know anything about it is because of Donald Trump. And yet you have an audacity to trash him because of something you don't actually know. Imagine that. Lady B says, hey, Walter. And John says, hey, Walter. Amy B says, Amanda, you're supposed to yell back. Void Adventure says, my Democrat friends knows so much about Trump, I'm starting to think he's a Republican, LOL. And he's slowly coming over to the right and the red. Amen. Congratulations to your friend. Amanda says, hi, Walter. And Void says, hold on, my chat jumped. Void says, he tells me when Trump does things, and I'm happy because he's saying it's as if Trump did something bad when it's something that's great. And that Democrat friend doesn't know that I'm a Republican, LOL. Yeah, that happens. But I'm glad that your friend is coming around and seeing the light. We need more of those. Amy says, I see Kevin's cup of coffee, and I raise him another cup of coffee. You go. I'll join you. I'll add to the pot. See what I did there? Lady B says, John, how is the project going? And Amy says, I'm not left or right. I'm in the center. I'm a little bit to the right. I do lean left in some areas, but most of everything, especially anything fiscally, I'm in the right. I'm a money Republican. Kevin says, hello, Walter. Void Adventure says, my Democrat friend is the best example of a jealous Democrat because he's just mad they lost, and that's their problem. They can't get over losing because they've never been told no before. That's the problem. Yep, you see it, Void. You know how to combat that? Just live and do things the right way and watch them crumble. Your light will crumble their darkness every time. And Kevin says, hello, Lady Biker. Aaron says, Amy knows all about the center. Amy says, LOL, Aaron. You're an idiot, been there, done that. We don't talk to idiots. It's a new policy on this show. We don't indulge idiots.
It is idiot free zone.
Amy says, I can see that, Void. And Fab Daddy says the tariffs are paid here at the shipyards, not from the country of origin. Their tariffs are paid here, yes. Our tariffs are paid there. That's how tariffs work. You don't pay for your own tariff. They pay for your tariff. You pay for their tariff. You see how that works? It's pretty easy to understand. Play Monopoly. You'll get the idea. But from the persons picking up the goods, a.k.a. us, China doesn't write the check at the boatyard. Nobody writes the check at the boatyard. That has nothing to do with tariffs. And by the way, you don't pick up your goods at the boatyard. It's shipped to you. When is the last time you went to the boatyard to pick up a thing? You just defeated your own argument. Amanda says, watch your mouth. Been there, done that. Are you back?
No.
Okay. I'll keep reading for you then. John says, lady, going good. Done 100 miles today on my bike. There and back. Legs feel like rock. Wow. You rode 100 miles on a bike today? That's amazing. Are we talking British miles? And Walter says, okay, I said hello to everyone by name in the chat and got buffering and it was all lost. This format sucks, Jake. I can't help that. I don't make the chat.
Format hasn't changed.
The format's always been the same as far as I know. I've read every chat that you put out. Void Adventure says to rebut that person, the tariffs are against any cryptocurrency whose servers are based in China, most of them. So if anything, it's against crypto for those trying to scream fraud, LOL. I have no idea about cryptocurrency because I don't follow that nonsense. I don't think tariffs have anything to do with cryptocurrency, but if they do, I would say it's there to affect the people in the countries that is doing the cryptocurrency, not the other way around. Again, I don't know anything about it, so I can't really comment on that. Amy says, Walter, exit and come back. Maybe that'll fix it. And Lady Biker says, Jake, when you get a chance, will you get me caught up on something? Will you get me caught up on some things in here since I am new in here? And let me know when I can elaborate. Just FYI about folks in here. Yeah, sure. Anytime you want. You can email me privately if you need to, or you can just put it out here in the chat and I'll read it. But yeah, I'll fill you in on what you need to know. Been there, done that. Are you starting to get the picture that all of that nonsense that you're typing is irrelevant and nobody's going to hear it? Aaron says, why can't I see their comments, Amanda? I'm set to live chat and all messages. You can't see whose comments. And Amanda says,
one more been there and you're out.
Walter Davis says, we already have digital currency. It's called bank cards. Right on. And cryptocurrency is just another way of doing that. It's the same thing, though. And Lady B says, hey, Aaron, wave your hand. Aaron says, hi, Lady B. I hope you are good. Fab Daddy says, Taco Boy has to protect his big balls from the 14 and 15-year-olds beating him up in D.C. And he should.
But let's not forget that Big Balls was protecting his girlfriend from them boys that were trying to beat her up.
That's right.
And he shoved her in the car and shut the door and took the ass beating to keep her safe.
Exactly.
That says a hell of a man to me, regardless whether he got his ass whooped or not.
Shows that he's the one with the big balls. And those boys, they deserve to get more than get thrown in jail. They deserve to have their asses beat in public. And anybody that acts like that deserves to have their asses beat. And Fab Daddy, Trump is doing the right thing in D.C., and that's why all the Democrats are starting to approve of his behavior. People that you claim to follow are starting to capitulate to him and kiss the ring. Why? Because what he's doing is effective. Kevin says, Walter, yes, exit and come back. And Amy says, ask Lady B, whatever you got, ask ahead. There's no secrets in here, Lady B. You can ask any question and I'll answer them. But if you feel odd about it, email me, untetheredlivestream@gmail.com. Lady B says, thank you, Aaron. I've been doing yard work. I'm ready for grass to die. I need to go cut my grass, too. Walter says, Kevin, where I am has really bad service. Then how can it be my format that sucks when it's the service causing the problem? Amy says, bye-bye, been there, done that. We gave you every opportunity, but you could not control yourself. See ya. And Amanda says, LOL, wow, Fab. You say it. I keep forgetting that you're there.
I'm not sure where we're at.
9:33.
LOL, wow, Fab. That's total Democrat comment.
Damn, you got beat by the hammer, the band hammer. Aaron says, yard work is rewarding. And Fab Daddy says, it is true. It is not. Amy says, most men protect their junk from calamity. Of course we do. And Kevin says, everything was better under Biden. I loved paying $160 to fuel up my truck. Yeah, right? I loved not knowing what was going to happen because the auto pen was making decisions without the president's knowledge. Lady Biker says, okay, Amy, I know Amanda and Jake are an item. Who said? How did you find that out? Who told you that? And that Walters are an item. The Davises are an item. I just wondered what couples are in here besides these two. It's actually the only two that I'm aware of. Rachel's here. She says, hello. Hi, Rachel. How are you? Item is a strong word. We live together. We're married. Is that an item? I don't know. And Amy says, I think that's about it, Lady B. I think it is too. I think that's the only two that I'm aware of anyway. Unless you're an item. Are you an item? Hang on. You know the drill.
Kevin says, hello, Rachel. 9:35.
Got it. Amy says, hi, Rachel. And Walter says, we have a trade surplus with India. Tariffs on Indian isn't good. There are a few countries like them. Well, I mean, if we have to pay them tariffs, they should have to pay us tariffs. That's how I feel about it. Actually, I think it's a good idea all the way around. We should not be capitulating to other countries. We should be worried about our country and not worry about the rest of the world. We should not be the world's police. We should not be the world's idol. We should just focus on us. That's my idea anyway. Fab Daddy says, Amy, Big Balls is a nickname for a 19-year-old Doge worker. Yes. Does that matter? He still got his ass beat protecting his lady, which is commendable in my book. Amanda says.
Hi, Rachel.
Lady B says, Aaron, I agree, but 3 hours in the heat is draining. Amen to that. Welcome to the workday. Walter Davis says he went to jail because of Trump. Who went to jail because of Trump?
Epstein.
Epstein? Yes. Yeah, Trump is the guy that turned him in the first place, and if it wasn't for Trump, he'd still be doing what he was doing, and nobody would be the wiser. Think about that for a minute. Say something.
Say something. Let's see. Amy says, Lady B, Debbie has an emotional support pickle. And Kevin.
His name is Jake.
Dodie says, Kevin Bernard sarcasm at its best.
I'm back.
That was
Sorry,
great.
I had to glue my teeth in. TMI.
Right?
Amy says, Lady B, Debbie hasn't. I read that one. Dodie says, sarcasm at its best. I read that one. Lady B says, Lamau, support pickle. Lamau. Kevin says, Amy, LOL. And Aaron says, Lady, I live in the heat. LOL. I'm in it all day, and I work in it. Right on. Heat, it comes with the territory. And Lady B says, who is her support pickle? Kevin says, Lady B, LOL. Amy says, it's a freestanding emotional support pickle. Self-guiding. Remote operated. Battery powered. Bluetooth. Support pickle. Aaron says, we got the pickle gang and the no pants club. They need jackets. It's not a bad idea. I'll look into it. Lady B says, hats off. Sweaty hats off to you, Aaron. Heat. Kevin says, Debbie, don't kiss and tell. Amy says, LOL, Kevin. She tells.
She tells it all.
Lady B says, Kevin, how are you? And what did y'all do for fun today? That's a good question. I slept. I needed it. I went so hard last night, my voice literally quit as I was ending the show. And I could not talk for like 2 hours after that.
It was peaceful.
And Linda says, Debbie gives details. Amen. Aaron says, I take my hat off to you two and wish you a cold drink. Amen. Void says, hi. Hi, Void. Kevin says, Lady B slept like a baby, 2 hour spurts. And then cry. That's how I sleep. I sleep for 2 hours and then cry until somebody sticks a titty in my mouth.
Imagine that.
Lady B says, so she has heart in here. Oh, yeah. Lots of love. Walter says, hi, Linda. And Lady B says, Kevin, I bet you needed it. Linda says, hi, Walter. Lady B says, hey, Linda, hugs. And Linda says, hi, Lady B, heart. Fab Daddy says, I have. You have what? Lady B says, nice, 100%. And hey, Fab. That's a white power symbol, in case you didn't know, Fab. Debbie says, Fab, it is tacky to diss an honorable man that was helping a fellow citizen. How disgusting to make a heroic act political. Ouch. Fab Daddy says, I went and picked up a car at the shipyards. When? And for whom? Walter says, I'm going to a boatyard tomorrow. Different kind of boatyard. Amanda says, when, Fab, and how long ago? Lady B says, hey, Void, are you an AKA? And also known as? I would guess so. I don't think his name is Void Adventures. Fab Daddy says, it was 15 years ago. It was my uncle's car from Hawaii. Did you have to pay tariffs when you picked it up?
probably had to pay the shipping fee from shipping it across the water.
That's what
which
I'm guessing.
is totally normal. That's a big difference between the shipping fee and a tariff there, Fab.
That's what I'm guessing. Debbie says, Lady B, I posted a picture of my pickle on the chill stream chat. And Amy says, here's Jake's email address if anybody needs to get in contact with him. It's untetheredlivestream@gmail.com. Thank you, Amy. Lady B says, oh no, private. I just wondered who was buddied up, coupled up. Love is neat. I hear you. Well, it's there if you need it. Fab Daddy says, I picked it up in Oakland Shipyard, and yes, we paid the shipping costs there. Yeah, that's not tariffs. That's shipping costs. That's for anything shipped overseas. Likewise, when I buy a Chinese guitar and it's shipped overseas on a barge shipping container, and then it comes into customs, I have to pay when I buy the thing $200 extra so that it can go through customs, because that's typical of buying something overseas. That's not tariffs. John H. says, in Britain, miles are about 161 in kilometers. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how that works. I think they're 5,000 some odd feet here. I used to know, but I can't remember now. Fab Daddy says trucks won't leave the shipyard without someone paying the shipping and tariff fees first. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not tariff fees, they're shipping fees. That's going to be there whether there's tariffs or not. Tariffs are paid by the government, not by the consumer or the shipper. A tariff is a cost benefit for shipping to a country. It's like paying for the right to ship to a country. For example, automobiles. When we buy automobiles from China and they come into our country, we have to pay for those automobiles, and we have to pay the Chinese tariff, which can be as much as 150% of the price of the vehicle. Then we have to sell that vehicle in America, which means the price of it has to go up, which would cover the offset for the tariff. If there were no tariffs and everybody would just give our stuff for free, then prices would be incredibly low, but that's not how it works. Amy says, sounds like the cost of doing business. It is. Lady B says, Debbie Lamau, the Vlasic lover. Fab Daddy says, 15 years ago. Good thing we don't have tariffs for Hawaii. Well, Hawaii is an American country, American state. So, it's part of the country. So we wouldn't have tariffs in our own country. The word tariff means for other countries. That's not what it means, but it's for other countries. Walter Davis says, it wasn't his girlfriend. It was just some woman. He's cool all day long. Who's he? I guess I didn't pick up on that one. Amy says, my service out here is intermittent too. Well, be careful. That intermittent can get dangerous. You want to be mitted outwardly. Wear your mittens on the outside. That could cause a staph infection or something. Being intermittent. You want to be outer mittened. Amanda says,
right? Like when the truck drivers deliver their load, they don't get paid right then and there. It goes to the receiver. The drivers just take the load from point A to point B and they pay with their docking stations. So, I mean, I don't get where you're having a conniption fit over these tariffs there, Fab. And they've always been in play. It's just Trump makes a big deal about them because he gets money out of it. He builds America by doing it.
And for a lot of years, we were not charging other countries tariffs. We were just paying their tariffs. But we weren't getting anything back. Now we're getting it back, and it's a fairer marketplace, which means that the prices will normalize. They will become nominal over time. It's actually a great idea, and it's working. So all of the hyperventilating is not going to change the fact that it's working. And then it'll all be just something you griped about at one point in the past. And like all other griping in the past, it will fade into non-existence as we move forward and actually do things in the real world.
For instance, Apple. He was going to put a tariff on Apple. They had an original agreement for $6 million to come work in the United States. Then he discussed it with them again. Now it's $9 billion that they're going to invest in the United States and bring over 17,000 jobs to the United States. Come on now, Fab.
Yeah, that's how Trump rolls.
That's a tariff for you.
And Lady B says, I would never feel odd. I am a people person. I love you all dearly, along with my pickle problem. Lamau Debbie. Amen. I'm with you, Lady B. I'm a people person, too. I mean, I don't like people, but I get along well with people. I don't do well with persons, but I do well with people. Amy says, Smiley. I got to find the pickles. Hang on.
946.
Got it. Lady B says, Lamau, Kevin, gas pump. Fab Daddy says, LOL. And Lady B says, hey, Rachel, honey. Lady B says, an item? On the shelf at the grocery store. Lamau. Aaron says, Rachel, good job making it. I'm proud of you. Good to see you. Fab Daddy says, how much for the item? Well, I don't know. I have to put a tariff on it. Get back to you.
Damn it, man.
Wow. Who's quick with it?
Ouch.
Bill Bennett says, hello, Untethered Live fam. Good to see you all. Happy Saturday. Hey, Bill. Nice to see you, my brother. How you doing? And it was very nice the comment that you left me. I appreciate that. Aaron says, if you sit in the right aisle, someone might pick you up. Maybe. It's traditionally a good place to pick up people at the grocery store. Amy says, hi, Bill. And Amanda says,
Hi, Bill.
Linda says, hi, Bill. Fab Daddy says, someday, I hope you can take Trump off the pedestal you place him upon. I didn't place him on a pedestal. Prayers for you. Thank you. I'll take all the prayers I can get. But praying for me to remove Trump from a pedestal is a moot point because I didn't put him on a pedestal. I'm just calling it like I see it. I didn't ask Trump to run for president. I didn't decide to be a fan of President Trump. His actions dictated that. Why would it matter to you if I placed Trump on a pedestal or not? Does that offend you personally? Does that affect your life personally?
Better than having Biden on a pedestal.
Absolutely. Aaron says the pickle also plays music. Wow. That's a talented pickle. Jimmy Smith, welcome. Can I have a mod, please? Amen. No, sir, you cannot. You have to be here for a while to get a mod. I have to get to know you. I have to know how I can trust you. But you're welcome to hit that subscribe button and join us for a while. And who knows? Maybe you'll get a wrench in your future. Amy Smith says, Amy Elizabeth says, hi, Jimmy Smith, welcome. And Amanda says,
Hi, Jimmy, welcome.
Fab Daddy says, no, Jimmy is a sick account. Is it? A sock account. Is it?
It's just a fairly new account of an old man.
No. Jimmy Smith says, why? Well, because I don't know you. Well, why would I give somebody I don't know a wrench to have power in my chat? Yeah, I have to get to know you for a while. That's all. Lady B says, Commando is fun. I am back. I had to brush, floss, and mouthwash. Nice. Jimmy says, huh? Fab Daddy says sock account. I think it's just a person with a new account, that's all. But it might be a sock account. But either way, I'm not giving you a wrench. That would be ridiculous. That would mean I wouldn't be very good at my job. And Amanda says,
And we don't need any more mods.
we do have plenty. And Fab Daddy says, ha, my eyes are watching Jimmy. Keep your eyes on him, Fab. Amy says, what do you mean, Fab? A sock account. Should we boot him? Not unless he does something wrong. I just sit off my pillow. It's starting to hurt my butt. Aaron says, Jimmy is a sick account. Sock account. Fab Daddy says, Amy, when you look at their channel, you will understand. Like a sock puppet, like a fake account. And it might be, we get a lot of those. And it might be just somebody with a new account. Either way, unless he does something wrong, there's no reason to kick him out or anything. But I apologize, Jimmy, you can't have a mod. But stick around, you might enjoy what you see. And if you're a real person back there, you will. Lady B says, I meant is Void a regular under another name. As far as I know, he's only that name, but he's been around a while. He's not a very active participant, but he comes in on a regular basis. Fab Daddy says that account was started today. And Aaron says, Fab, I agree. I see the account. Well, that's what you guys are here for. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. And Amy says, I'll let Amanda deal with him. And Amanda says, he's okay for now. And Debbie says, Lady B, Kevin is my submissive, but we are not a couple. There you go. Aaron says, maybe he'll learn something and stay. That would be nice. I like it when that happens. And Amy says, remember Mick Foley and Sacco? Nope, that doesn't bring anything to mind. Who is that? And John says, I'm dumb. I use miles still. That's not dumb. That's good. And Amy says, LOL, Debbie. Kevin says, tariffs level the playing field. China uses all but slave labor. How can the U.S. compete with slave labor? With tariffs. And Fab Daddy says, you said it right. We have to pay. And Amy says, right, Kevin. Child slave labor, too. Kevin says, Fab Daddy, do you want to bring back slave labor to the U.S. of A.? And Amy says, LOL, delivering a load. And Fab Daddy says, conniptions, great word. Conniptions. Amy says, delivering a load of support pickles. That's the truck backing up. Aaron says, Amy, you so bad. Lady B says, some drivers only get paid commissions per load. A percentage per load. Yep. And Amanda says, LOL, Amy. And John says, I'm going to call it a night. Good evening, everyone. Much love. I've been awake since yesterday, and it's been a busy day. Well, John, God bless you, my friend. Thank you for being here. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the evening. Amy says, good night, Nugget. See you at Bible study tomorrow. And Debbie says, I hope it's my house. I hope it's to my house, Amy. I need all the support pickles I can get. Good gracious. That makes a man a little nervous. Kevin says, Debbie, you said you wouldn't tell anyone. I told you she tells. Hilarious. Amy says, LOL, Debbie. And Fab Daddy says, I can't wait till my con nip shun perk from cold weather. I don't get it. You can't wait for your conniption perk from cold weather. Cold weather. You're talking about your nips perking? Amy says, I told you she kissed and tells, Kevin. And Debbie says, shh, Kevin, I didn't say you could talk. Kevin says, Debbie, not talking, typing. And Amanda says, oh, damn, Debbie. She's getting that dominatrix on, zipping up the black leather and getting her little riding crop. Where's a ball gag when you need one? Amy says, he still can type even with a gag ball. Lady B says, bye, John, stay smart. Bye, John, stay smart. Kevin says, Debbie, if you don't want me typing, learn how to tie better knots. Damn. Amy says, LOL, Kevin. And Debbie says, okay, Kevin, I'm putting that on my to-do list. Lady B says, Jimmy, welcome, but never disrespect Jake. That's all I ask. Thank you, Lady B. Kevin says, Debbie, next time you get a spanking. Patty says, now, Jake, you know you got Ken up in the White House. Tell the truth, brother. Maybe. There might be some White House. I think there was a crazy guy named King David that walked to the White House one time in my past. I think he got tackled by the Secret Service before he got in the front door, though.
I mean, Jake's family did have their Johnsons out in the barn, so yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. Lady B says, spank it good. Whip it good. Debbie says, don't threaten me with a good time, Kevin. Amy says, getting hot in here.
No, right?
Aaron says, Lady B, trust me, that won't happen while I'm here. The Jimmy comment. Kevin says, Debbie, keep talking. I'm almost there. And Bill Bennett says, I didn't know what a bod was, LOL. It's just a guy that has a wrench or a girl that can have some access to the channel and some control over the chat. And they can ban users and time them out and things like that. So they're like part of the show. They keep everything running smooth. And Lady B says, good, Aaron. Thumbs up and a dead smiley face. Aaron says, I can sit on the bike. Can I sit on the bike, Lady B? Kevin says, hello, Bill. And Amanda says, get on your microphone.
Oh, damn it, Kevin.
Kevin says, Amanda, Debbie has that effect on me. I can see that. Sounds like you enjoy it, too. Ain't nothing wrong with a little fun time between adults. Lady B says, you can, Aaron. Did you say you had one? I don't know if he has a bike or not. And Debbie says, stop, Kevin. Finish later.
Finish later. Debbie's just edging him on out there.
Edge Master. Good gracious. Sometimes you can't stop it. It's just got to go. And Kevin says, Debbie, yes, ma'am. And Aaron says, I had a Ducati, but not anymore. Lady B says, Aaron, I have never rode, bitch. But just like riding my own and being in control, I am talking about riding my Yamaha, Lamau. Well, if you can ride one, you should ride one.
Aaron can identify as a Yamaha, I'm sure.
Aaron's like, I even got a Kickstarter. Lady B says, why didn't you like the Ducati? That's a good question. When you have a Ducati, how do you get rid of a Ducati? Patty says, I'm obvious to any internet hate. I guess I really don't feel their fiery darts. I'm oblivious. Got it. I'm oblivious to any internet hate. Yeah. I take it a little bit personally because I get emotionally involved with everybody that's here. And when people come in and get trolly, it does hurt my feelings to some extent. But I am well insulated. And it's only going to hurt but so much. And I can take it. And I can dish it out as good as I can take it, too. So, you know. Amy says, I'll be back. I have to get the mop and bucket to clean up Kevin and Debbie's mess. If it takes a mop and bucket, they've been busy, haven't they?
This is not P.
It is P. Oh, Aaron says, I loved it, but the divorce, they took it. Got it. Yeah, that happens a lot, Aaron. A lot of men lose a lot of good things to divorce. It's almost not worth it. Almost. Kevin says, hello, Patty. And Lady B says, I don't like a BMW. They aren't made well, but they are for long-legged folks. My inseam is 21 inches. Yeah, I can barely straddle my Harley and put both feet on the ground. I can do it, but it hurts my thighs. You know, I get cramps in my thighs because it's such a wide seat. I'm a short fella. But I get it done. You know what I'm saying? And Debbie says, thanks, Amy. Kevin does get messy. And Aaron says, what kind of Yamaha? Patty says, hey, Mr. Kevin. And Aaron says, well, lady, I'm tall, LOL. You won't have no problem reaching the ground then, will you? Fab Daddy says, wow, the sweet pickle and who's the dill? Or who's the sweet pickle and who's the dill? I think they're all dills. Fab Daddy says, I'm trying to be kosher.
We like our pickles with a little twang.
Right on. Aaron says, or the spicy pickle. Spicy pickle's good. Amy says, LOL, Fab. Jordan Scott Mills. What's up, buddy? And Jordan Scott Mills says, I remember that guy King Dave was a crackhead from San Fran, I think. Not the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about was a crackhead from Georgia. And he lived in a trailer, and there was something wrong with his brain. I think he took some LSD one time, and he never came back. And he would make bird noises, and he started calling himself King David. And he ran a flea market out of his front yard, and he sold basically junk. Anything he could scrap and get in a box, he'd sell it. You could buy stuff for a couple of pennies or a quarter from him. He didn't care. And one time he got in his head that he needed to talk to the president, so he walked to the White House and walked right in the front door. But they tackled him when he walked in. And I don't remember what his real name was, but he was a cousin of mine. If there was another King David, I don't know who that was. And how you doing, Jordan? Nice to see you. Been a while. Jordan says, also, howdy, chap. Fab Daddy says, hey, Jordan. And Amy says, hi, Jordan. Welcome back. Kevin says, hello, Jordan. Amanda says,
Hi, Jordan. Long time no see.
Jordan says, it's nice to now be working so much and catch a stream. It is nice to have a good job, and I'm glad you got it going on. Don't forget me when you're getting paid. It's nice to not be working so much. Oh, you're not working so much. Forget what I said. Lady B says, Amy, smiley, smiley, mop and bucket. And Lamau Aaron. And Aaron says, hugs and hearts. Bill Bennett says, see you guys at Bible study, God willing. Good night, guys. Bill, God bless you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Lady B says, you should test ride a BMW if you haven't already. I don't like the way the motors sit on a BMW. They're real wide and they stick out real far. I don't like that because I ride with my feet up. And Kevin says, good night, Bill. And Amanda says,
Good night, Bill.
Fab Daddy says, God willing, Bill. Aaron says, I like them. The guy at my work has a blacked out one. And Lady B says, women suck. Should always get to keep motorcycles in all divorces. Yeah. If it's yours, yes. Lady B says, sweet dreams, Bill. And Aaron, heart, heart, heart. And Debbie says, Lady B, and sometimes they swallow. If you're lucky. I'm incredibly lucky. Really, really lucky. And Jordan says, I love that there were two separate crackheads named King David in America's history. It's kind of funny. It is. Yeah, I didn't know about that other one, but that is kind of interesting. And it may be the same person, just told from different perspectives. Maybe someone else knew about him and told the story. Who knows? I've never heard of the other one, but if there is, in fact, two of them, that is weird. It's almost like mental illness does mental illness. You know what I'm saying? And Amanda says,
Well, Debbie, if he's making a mess, then you need to swallow faster.
Choke it back. That's why they call it the glug glug.
Glug glug.
Lady B says, Aaron, this you were going shall pass. Look ahead. This thing that you're going through will pass. Look ahead. And Patty says, I know those people, right? No filter. Lady B says, should always swallow. I agree. Aaron says, when I was young, I didn't know you couldn't touch a gang's bike, and I sat on one. That ain't good.
Facts, Lady B.
Aaron says, the Hells Angels gave me a pass because I was a kid. Well, that's good. They get upset about that sort of thing. Yeah. Fab Daddy says, swallow is the bird of true love. I agree. Debbie says, Amanda, I will take that under advisement and try to learn. I really do like it coming out my nose. Do. Lady B says, Amanda, smiley, smiley. And Amanda says,
LOL, Debbie, me too.
Amy says, laughing, waiting for Jake to read the comments.
Yes, Amy.
Aaron says, your chat's about to jump. Lady B throwing hearts. I got it. Lady B says, wow, Debbie. Kevin says, smiling because I'm done. Easy there, Kevin. Wipe the regret off and recuperate. Debbie says, I was today years old when I learned Amanda was a cannibal. Now that you mention it. Aaron says, I've been divorced for 13 years now. I'm good. I'm beyond good. Kevin says, clean up on aisle toe. Toe. If it dribbled. Lady B says, to be a pro, suck the entire time while you swallow, make the toes curl, and tail out. Woo. Well, you know what they say, Lady B. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed. Lady B says, smiley, smiley. And Aaron says, ooh, it's getting adult in here. And goes back in the dark. Lady B says, Lamal, Kevin, smiley, smiley. And Kevin says, I'll be ready again in 15 minutes or so. Is that all? Good gracious. Takes me a half hour, at least. Linda says, I end up getting stuck with the debt, and my ex claimed bankruptcy. I lost my house my car, and I ended up having to pay the credit cards. I got screwed. Walter took me and the kids in. Well, that's good. That's good. That's terrible. Divorce is not fun. Fab Daddy says 2 and 5, y'all enjoy. Be kind, stay hydrated, and suck them hoses dry. Fab Daddy, thank you for being here, brother. Have a good night and enjoy yourself. Amy says, gets her rubber boots. You need them in here. It's getting deep.
I'm getting my waders.
And Amanda says, good night, Fab. Amanda, you say that.
Good night, Fab Daddy. Yo, Democrat.
Linda says, good night, Fab. And Aaron says, Amy, you get the boots. I'll get the googies.
The goggles.
The goggles.
Googie.
Goggles.
The googies?
Spell goggle.
Goggle.
Spell what that is.
Googles.
So you see my dilemma.
What is a googie, though?
I don't know. That's what I read.
Interesting.
Amy says, that was nice of him, Linda. Yes, it was. And Kevin says, Amy, bring the Gatorade. And Walter says, good night, Fab. And Lady B says, Walter is awesome. Ladies, make sure all deeds and titles stay in your name only, always. If it's yours. I'm smarter than that. I don't own anything. I'm a void entity in the world. I own nothing. I have nothing. But I own my own land, and everything that I own is mine. Nothing is in debt. I owe nobody nothing. I own everything. But none of it is mine. So if I get divorced, they're going to go out with less than they came in with, and that's all there is to it. And Linda says, it was a learning experience for sure. Amy says, I want a googie. Right? Me too. Aaron says, Google's is good and boobs together. Right on. I mean, googies or cream pies. Walter says, yep, Linda. And when we paid it off, we bought you a new car. And then he borrowed it to go to his dad's funeral. That's something. That would have been a big negatory on my part.
Right.
A big negative. Suck it. And Lady B says, Jake, if you have no debt, how would they come out with less? Educate me. Because they ain't getting anything from me. And they're going to have to pay to leave. I don't play that game. I'm not taking anything from them. They shouldn't want to take anything from me. And anything they get while they're here is because I provided it for them, which means it stays here if they decide to leave. And that's how I feel about it. If you're here, if you're mine, then anything you want, I will provide it. Ask my wife if you think I'm wrong. I will bend over backwards to give you what you need. But you are not taking me for a ride. If you decide you're tired of playing house and want to leave, the door's open. I won't stop you. But you're not taking my home with you when you go. It's just not going to happen. Amy says, you own it, but still have to pay taxes on it. That's true. I do have to pay taxes. But it is not in my name. And Linda Davis says, yeah, Walter, we did. And property taxes is BS, says Kevin. Yes, it is. It's like paying rent. I feel like I'm renting. And Linda says, we had to have him come over because my kids wouldn't leave Walter. That's good. Walter says, we took everything the world could throw at us and came out on top. Amen. And Debbie says, Linda is nicer than me. I would have told him to walk. I would have too. And Linda says, we made a good team.
Wow, 10:30 and we're at the bottom of the chat.
Isn't that weird? And Lady B says, gotcha. Same here for me. What's mine is mine. I will share it, but it's mine until my death. I worked too damn hard to get what I own. Exactly. If you worked for it and it's yours, I am not an unfair man. That's yours. You worked for it. If you want to leave and take what's yours with you, that's all right with me. But this idea that I owe you half of what I built from my life, that's not going to happen. I don't care what the law says. You're not getting it. I will destroy it before you get it. You in general, not you personally. And Walter says, we did back then. And Linda says, ugh, Kevin, my property taxes are due this month. I just got mine paid off, and I've been late for a while. And I'm grateful that that's off of my shoulders. I just got them paid like 2 weeks ago. Well, you remember I told you about it. Just got them paid off. And now I got to go again. Because January's a coming. Pardon me. And Kevin says, my sister and her husband pay $1,200 a month. Not in taxes. Really? Where do they live on? A mansion? That's crazy. Mine's like $600 a year.
That's probably rent.
And Jordan says, I still think divorce should be illegal and unreinforceable or unenforceable. We either believe in God or we openly mock him. Excuses are exactly that. I agree with that, Jordan. I think there are reasons for divorce, but I think those reasons are few and far between. And unless you meet the criteria for that kind of a reason, you shouldn't be opting for divorce. If you get married, you should take it seriously. I agree with that. And Walter says, I don't care about anything monetarily. Linda can have it all. Lady B says tags are due at the end of this month and property taxes in October. First year without a mortgage feels good. I bet it does. Kevin says, yep, property tax. Matawan, New Jersey. That's crazy. And Linda says, mine comes in 2 parts. One is due in April and the next is due in August. Wow. Dakota writes here, says, hey, friends. Hey, Dakota, nice to see you. And Fab Daddy says, I didn't leave. I was lying. My property taxes is $2,000 per year. That's a lot of taxes. I only have an acre, so it's not that much. Dakota says, hey, friends. Heart. Hey, Dakota. Lady B says, hey, Dakota, beautiful name. And Amy says, until death do we part. Last one standing gets it all. And I did what little there was. Right on. Aaron says, I think domestic or life haven't talked much or seen her since she got there. But I hold on. Sorry, I messed that up. I think domestic or life treating things or abuse is the only excuse. Right. Yeah, if she cheats on you, that's cause for divorce. If you are incompatible religiously, that's cause for divorce. If there's some kind of health problem that you can't avoid and one's dying and she dies, then you're free to go. But other than that, an argument is just not a reason to get a divorce, in my opinion. That irreconcilable differences is nonsense. Walter says Tom's River, Denise is in Neptune. Haven't talked much or seen her since she got there. All right. Tom's River, Denise, I don't know who that is. Kevin says, hello, Dakota. Lady B says, Fab Daddy, can you get it homesteaded? Right. Dakota says, hey, Kevin. And Amy says, hey, Dakota. And Linda says, my old house in New Jersey was $5,000 a year for less than a quarter of an acre. That's ridiculous. I guess I'm incredibly lucky then, because mine isn't that much. I mean, it's much if you don't have anything, but it ain't that much. Which reminds me, like, subscribe, share, support, join, feed Jake, and super chats are available. Thank you. Also hit that Cash App, $ Jake Johnson Band, if you can. Be a pro, don't you know? Share the show with everyone you know. Dakota says, hey, Amy. And Debbie says, I live in Missouri, the show me state. 10 acres and a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, and my taxes are less than $1,000 a year. That ain't bad. 10 acres. I just have 1 acre, and it's like $600 for a year. But it's in the country too, so it's not like prime real estate or anything. Kevin says, Linda, how long ago was that? And Lady B says, Linda, come to the South. It's cheaper. Amen, Lady Biker. Walter Davis says, Denise was homeless and disabled at the time. Lady B says, what about a loveless, sexless marriage? Well, that sucks. My guess is you should probably fix that before you get married. But, I suppose if you just can't be compatible and you're both in agreement, then a divorce is amicable. But, it rarely ever works out that way. It's usually one party wanting to leave and the other party with no idea why. It's usually that way. In those situations, I don't think divorce is the answer. I think a sit down and have a cup of coffee and have a conversation is the answer. And be willing to work on it. You can't just decide you don't want to be married anymore. I don't think that's a good thing. But yeah, there are reasons to get a divorce. But they should be considered to be devastating in a way that there is no way around it. It should not just be commonplace to get a divorce. Aaron says, no, if it's a tourist state like mine, right?
That's definitely a big issue, Lady B.
And Linda says, I'm in Pennsylvania now, Lady B. And Walter says, Lady, it kind of sucks. Amy says, some mortgages, the property tax is included in the monthly payment. Well, that would be better. At least then, if you're paying like a monthly payment, then you don't have to worry about the taxes and all that on top of it. I'm grateful I don't have to pay rent anymore. And Jordan says, my favorite is California. Is a no-fault state. So you can literally get a divorce by just being like, I don't know, we stopped giving or some BS, which is horrible, and you literally don't need a reason. Yeah, I don't like that at all. That completely takes the value of marriage off the table. It diminishes the union between a man and a woman, which you should take seriously. You're literally starting a new family, a new flesh. You should take that seriously. Unfortunately, a lot of young people get married, which you should get married young, but you should be aware of the severity of that marriage, and we don't teach that like we should. Fab Daddy says, California changes the value of the property, so it's silly. If I improve my house, they adjust my taxes, right? That is silly. And Lady B says, excellent, Debbie. And Jordan says, Fab Daddy, yeah. But that's not why California is so screwed, Lamau, but yeah, it doesn't help. And Lady B says, wow, Aaron, new jobs are coming to Alabama because of Trump. And Aaron says, lady, you asked what state for me, but I don't know your state, Alabama. And lady says, that giant house, I hope you have company there, Debbie. That's a big house. I have a tiny house, 2-bedroom, Florida room. Linda says, I've been in Pennsylvania for 16 years. Lady B says, yeah, Walter, it would be a bad situation for folks in that situation. And Aaron says, I've never been to Alabama. I've drove in it going someplace only. Alabama's a nice place. Lady B says, roll tide, Aaron. Roll tide. Roll tide. All right, good thing. Lady B says, good things to do in Alabama. Google things to do in Alabama. There's a lot of good things to do in Alabama, and there are places in Alabama where you can just pick a piece of property, and if you clean it off, it's yours. Done. You just got to get the trees off and put a road out to it. That's it. Aaron says, LOL, I had a bad thought for a joke. Please do tell. Tonight's the night for it. And Linda says, Jersey and Pennsylvania are the same, Jordan. And Lady B says, say the joke, Aaron, say the joke. Amy says, every time Jake says marriage, my mind goes to the scene in Princess Bride. And Walter Davis says, if you don't have thousands to spend on a divorce, 18-month no fault is the way to go if it's available in your state. And Walter says, I got a 2-bedroom boat. Right on. And Lady B says, hate to clean it, Debbie. I bet you have a maid. And Debbie's like, I bet. And Lady B says, boat? Wow, Walter Davis. He's got a nice boat. Big one. All right, that's the bottom of the chat, and I made it. Aaron says, she said, look up things to do in Alabama. And I was like, are you in Alabama? Are you a thing to do in Alabama? That was the joke. Jordan says, I can't figure out how to get live chat anymore. Did they change it? They didn't. Just look up where it says all chat, top chat, or live chat, and make sure it's on live chat. It's different for a phone than for a computer, but
Click on the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner of the video, and it'll bring a drop down and go down to all chat or live chat.
There you go. Walter Davis says, lady, if you are in New Jersey, talk with Linda. You're welcome aboard. And Lady B says, sometimes I wish the lives could be where we could talk chime instead of typing. I uninstalled TikTok. That's a good move. TikTok sucks. I don't know what chime is, but I understand typing is a little strange. Linda says, I have a 5-bedroom house. I guess I'll sell it when it finally gets emptied out. LOL. And Debbie says, my son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandkids live with me. The house is big enough that we don't have to see each other unless we want to. That's actually a good thing. And Amy says, Jordan, the 3 dots in the corner. 3 dots in the corner. Drop down and pick the live likes like you want them. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough. That's me in the live stream. That's me in the chat room, losing my position. What? Wait, what happened? I got lost there. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. And Lady B says, Aaron, kissy face, kissy face, kissy face, smiley face. And Jordan says, yep, it's just not there. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my app's freaking out. Thanks anyway, though, guys. I'm sorry, Jordan. We're about to end anyway. Amy says, have a blessed night, everyone. See you tomorrow night for Bible study. Thank you, Amy, and bless you, too. Lady B says, wow, Debbie. Love you all. Aaron, see you tomorrow. Prayers. I love you guys. Kevin says, good night, everybody. And Amanda says,
Good nighters all. See you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for a Bible study. Much love.
right on. Walter says, Linda, you could be at the farm. You don't have time. Lady B says, sweet dreams, Kevin and everyone. Linda says, every time one bedroom gets emptied, it gets filled again. That happens, doesn't it? And Jordan says, well, I know Jake's trying to get to the bottom, so bless you all and have a great night. Thank you, Jordan. God bless you, my friend. Come see us tomorrow night for Bible study. And Aaron says, thank you, Jake, for this. It's my pleasure, my friend. And thank you for being here and being such a good sport. Patty says, thanks, Miss Amanda and Jake. Thank you, Patty. And I love you. And Linda says, one more year, Walter. Abby will graduate. And Walter says, good night, all. God bless. And what it is says, oh, hell, he's got the Magnum P.I. shirt on. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. That's me. I like Magnum P.I. And I like the shirt, and I have the mustache. So. And Linda says, good night, all. Heart. Hey, what it is. How you doing, buddy? Hi and bye. And Debbie says, living together has blessed us all, as it does. Patty says, that's hip. Thank you. And Amy says, hi, what it is. Bye, what it is. Thank you all for being here. God bless each and every one of you. I had a great time tonight. I hope you did too. I'll see you tomorrow night for some Bible study. Thank you for watching, and God bless.